back again. Geeto the Great, Guy Ronne.
Palmery, how you doing, everybody?
Glad to get back onto it. New episode, new day, new week.
Let's go, good people. Hopefully, this episode finds you in good spirit and good health. Coming to you from my home office, a brand new podcast studio that we put together here. So I'm kicking the tires on it. It's looking pretty good. I'm liking the work
Yeah,
that they
looking
did
real
here.
nice. Looking
Thank
real
you, thank
nice
you.
over there.
Yes, sir.
So how's your week been?
Yo, man, so far so good. Just kind of picking up from the last episode. We had talked a little bit about that Costco, man, and I saw a lot of options go off for the 1080. I want to say the 1080 strike for next month. So I feel like either somebody's listening or we spotted the same thing. A lot of call activity on that, and then I recently saw there was a dinner in the Rose Garden at the White House with a lot of tech
Yeah,
CEOs. To my attention, that was crazy, man.
yeah, we definitely
Lot of
get
heavy
into
paper
that.
in the room, a lot of decision makers in the room, man. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Started out this week good myself, man. It's like had nice couple of closings. I think we hit our monthly quota in 1 week. So the rest of that money, we
Let's
got to go
go.
shopping, right?
Let's go.
You
Let's go.
know?
Make it. You're hitting goals in the first full week of September.
Yes,
Monthly
sir.
goals in the first full week of September. That's what I'm talking about. That's what's up.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that dinner was something else, man. Something else, man. I was looking there and it was just, to be honest, man, when I was sitting watching it, it looked to me like seeing out The Godfather. It looked to me like Kiss the Ring. All the families there.
Very much
And
so. It felt like that.
yeah, that's the feeling I got. And it's like everybody from Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Tim Cook. I'm trying to, but you know who wasn't there, right?
I
Your
saw
good friend
Elon Musk
Elon
wasn't
wasn't
there.
there. Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah.
but definitely
What
a
you
lot
make
of
of
big
that?
power makers.
What you make? What you make? First, there was a black guy. First, Elon showed up somewhere with a black guy. I remember seeing that, and now he doesn't show up at this meeting with all of his technology constituencies in the room. What do you make of that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It looks like he's getting pushed to the side, but he's a very intelligent man. He's always come out on top. I think he's the type of guy that's going to go back in the bunker and sit down and get war ready. You know what I mean? He's up to something.
Yeah,
He's definitely up to something.
yeah, man. I tell you, him not being there certainly hasn't hurt the stock. I will
Not at
say
all.
that. And then another thing, did you hear about the pay package that they're offering him?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so I heard they're offering a pay package of close to $1 trillion, if I got that right, right? That's with a T. And so that's contingent upon him hitting certain milestones performance wise, as far as Tesla is concerned. And
Uh-huh.
they also gave that package as a way to incentivize him not to focus his energy on some of the other companies that he's involved in, or rather
Thanks.
to keep some of that focus more on Tesla to hit milestones. So yeah, man.
Mm.
And I imagine that package is probably looking really good. He's probably going to want to pursue that given the news from Oracle today. I don't know if you saw the news on Oracle. They reported earnings, crushed it.
Yeah. Like I just know Elon he's not a person to turn your back on. You know what I mean? And if he blocks the noise and gets focused, we already seen what he's able to do. So I think it's just been a lot of, I don't know what it is, but him just expressing himself or finding an outlet, from everything from, like you mentioned before, the whole smoking the weed, the whole president
Yeah.
thing. It's like sometimes, you know, you get into that zone where you might just have to let loose for a little bit. I don't really know what it was, but as a businessman, I think he's a solid businessman, and he's gonna bring us something to the table that's gonna move the meters, change the world. Truthfully, he also has all
He's
the
going to
other
change
great
the world
companies.
again.
Yes, again, right?
In the words of the great Khaled, another one. He's going to change the world again.
So, with all these people at that dinner, what was your take from it?
I have to watch it again to really form a solid thesis on that one, man. But from what I saw, there's definitely a heavy emphasis on AI. I did see something interesting. A news article was talking about Melania Trump's push of AI into the school systems. So
Yes, I saw
I gotta
that.
do a little bit of a deeper dive on that one. Yeah, I gotta do a little bit of a deeper dive on that one because I know that I believe it was the last administration Trump had appointed a young lady as a Department of Education school czar, and there was a huge uproar because the public, the general public, felt like she didn't have the qualifications to have that seat. So now we've got this push. Yeah, we've got this push into, as far as AI is concerned, into the schools. And like I said on the last episode, I'm not afraid of AI, and we sure could use the help in the American school systems. That's for certain. We
That's
absolutely,
definitely.
whatever help we can get, whatever help we can get to increase our standings, academically, we could use that help. So I'm curious to see what their plans are, but they've gone as far as making an official presidential AI task force, so we'll see how that plays out. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for updates on the Space Force. You remember Trump? They had launched the Space Force,
Yeah,
another branch of the government, right? Another. So I'm waiting to see what comes out of that presidential AI task force. But I got to tell you, circling back to Oracle, man, Oracle's up $92 on the day. It's up 38%, right? And just to put that in perspective, it's not a startup company, Oracle. Oracle's been around for some time. And to have a company that, meets and exceeds and essentially crushes, investors' expectations earnings wise and is up
yeah,
40% for a multi-billion-dollar company is amazing. It's amazing. So uh,
definitely.
I'm hearing estimates that Larry Ellison, who's the CEO of Oracle, I'm hearing that his net worth increased 100 plus $1 billion on that news.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at it now. There's a lot of movement in different sectors, especially everything linked to AI. Because listening to the talks at that dinner, one of the main things that I was noticing is Trump was, calling on each person at the table and asking them, "How much money are you investing in America?" Mark Zuckerberg said 600
Right.
billion. I think the
Yes.
guys at Microsoft said about 600 billion. My numbers might be off. I know Mark definitely hit the 600 billion mark. And he was basically telling them, like, either bring your production home or get hit with these tariffs. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
just sitting there in amazement. Like, I'm like, wow, wow. It just blew my mind. And if that, like I said, that's what it felt like, him exerting his power and his stance there, and everybody just, "Oh, we're so happy to be here with you, Mr. President. Let me kiss the ring. Let me kiss
Right.
the ring." You know what I mean? So, and another
Yeah, but
thing
I
that I
mean,
saw,
I would hate to see what happens when they don't comply.
yeah, yeah. And then I think another thing that was big was the infrastructure that everybody's building. That everybody's building these large warehouses and stuff just for, to house all the technology for the AI movement and everything else that's coming. So it's a lot going on. I think in the near future is going to be a lot of change, and as we're seeing, there's going to be a lot of spikes in certain stocks, that are linked to that sector. And I know you have your eye on a few things.
Yeah, just kind of touching on what you're talking about, it almost feels like a gold rush, right? And so if you're a fan of history, during the gold rush, a lot of money was made in the peripheral markets or tertiary markets surrounding gold. People were selling pickaxes and the tools necessary to dig for gold, right? So if correlating that to today's environment, if AI is the gold, then energy companies are literally the pickaxe in a sense, right? Because you need energy. There's a huge demand for energy to power these data centers. And to referring what you're saying about Zuckerberg, those, as far as the 600 billion is concerned, a lot of that, as I understand it, has been allocated towards data centers, right? Because
Data
there's going to be
centers,
a lot
yes,
of data that's consumed. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's another asset class within real estate, that definitely
yes,
deserves some investigation. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, yeah, you could build a data center, But if you're gonna finance it using debt, you need to be able to model that out financially to make sure that you can service that debt, right? So the revenues coming from that AI data center have to be sufficient enough to service that debt.
Cover.
So
Yeah.
probably we probably got our hands on a new real estate sector. You know what I'm saying? That we definitely got
Yeah,
to take a look at. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
What stocks
But
do you feel might correlate with everything going on?
I got full disclosure, right? I got a position in a company called Vistra Energy, right, or Vistra Corp. And
Mm,
so I saw a huge move. I got a position in them. They're doing well. And I saw a huge move in Talon Energy. That's ticker TLN. So Talon Energy, I mean, that thing shot up tremendous, man. It was pretty crazy how much that shot up. And
yeah.
then there's the nuclear players, right? I think we had talked about that a little bit. The nuclear players are doing very well too because this administration is pro-nuclear.
Mm,
So if nuclear companies are going to benefit, now's the time to make a move.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the
But as far
tech
as
tech heavy ETFs too, I think are moving with the movement now too.
yeah, something's going on. Something's going on in the data center space as far as AI is concerned. I know, man, because as far as these energy stocks is concerned, Talon was at 200 a share in May. It's at
Mm,
400 a share. So literally
yeah,
4 months, it's doubled. And again, not a small company today is sitting at a market cap of 18.5 billion, right? So if it doubled, that was at 9 back over the summer. Back by Memorial Day weekend around there, it was about, 200 and change. I'd say 210, 220 around there. And definitely had an uptick in business for it to be sitting at 406 right now.
definitely.
Klarna came
Yeah.
public today. You saw that? Klarna.
Why
That's
not?
ticker KLAR.
So that's the payment.
Yeah, that's buy now, pay later. Yeah, so Klarna went public, buy now, pay later. I
Yeah.
had gotten involved with a firm. You familiar with a firm?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, I trade the stock. I'm not 100% sure. I know it's buy now, pay later, right? That's definitely the basic premise of it. But
Yeah.
I know that it's grown in popularity. My only concern with those buy now, pay later situations is, how are they handling the defaults? But clearly they've got that business model pretty well mapped out. Otherwise, Klarna wouldn't have went public. So it debuted
Nice.
at 52.
Yeah, that's definitely a sector with so many different ones coming out because there's Affirm, Klarna, Afterpay. I think PayPal has their own version now as well. So it's definitely got to
Okay.
be a sector that's going to be moving.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, with the IPOs, I feel like it's an exit strategy for the investor that's been in there while it was private, right? So this is pretty much their day, so I
Mm,
like to wait until the hype wears off. People start taking some profits. This thing pulls back a little bit. I'll do some research on it and then start building a position if the company's a good look for the long term.
I think I got caught up in that
Yeah.
whole move with when Robin Hood IPO'd.
Mm-hmm.
I got in on it on the hype, not waiting for it to pull back. And then I got out of it on the pullback and then it went up. I ended up catching it again and making some money off of it. But I see like even now, these
Mm-hmm.
last couple of days, it's been moving. It's definitely been like that company has came back from everything that it went through and it's strong right now. I saw
Very much
you and my
so.
brother posting that one and Octo. You guys were posting those two stocks. At least he definitely was. I know he was.
Listen, man. I like to take risks, but that one was a little too crazy, man. I think that thing shot up 4,000%. I got to tell you, that's not what the stock market is all about. Every now and again, you get this periods of delusion where you'll get a stock that'll go up, 1,000%, things of that sort. It's very seldom that those gains hold, but I'm okay with slow and steady. Slow and steady builds the race. You know what I'm saying? Or wins the race. I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's what works for
Seeing
me, man.
seeing the octo, yeah. Seeing the
It
octo,
looks tempting.
I
It
gotta
looks
say, I
tempting.
wish I owned some.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I owned some. Yeah, I wish I owned some.
Yeah, that was a crazy move. I just looked at it and I'm like, nah. And then everybody's like, it's gonna go up higher. I'm like, nah, you guys, I'm good. I'm good. This is looking too tempting. Like, I'm all right. You guys go ahead. You let me know how it turns out.
Well, remember what I told you, right? When they start taking screenshots and pictures, watch out, right?
Watch out.
When you see that happen, when you see that happen, yeah, not a good look. Be careful. As a matter of fact, I feel like the markets run pretty well here. We're due for a little bit of profit taking. I don't know when. I don't have a crystal ball, but I definitely do think that if you did experience this last little run here in the last week and a half, you know, just pay attention.
Yeah.
You don't want to leave your profits on the table.
I'm collecting my paychecks. I'm trying to make this month the best month of the year, so I'm collecting my paychecks. I know Reddit hit an all-time high. I'm scraping off the top of that real quick. Got a few other ones that I'm like, all right, we up there, so why not?
Yeah, and your timing is good, in your respective business because later this month, I want to say next week, right? Next week, the Fed chair is going to be
Yeah.
meeting, and they're expecting some sort of a cut on rates. So I know I'm seeing an uptick in at least pricing requests for DSCR loans and
Hmm.
second mortgage loans and HELOCs on the home equity line of credit front. There's definitely some renewed interest. I know the applications are out there, so
Yeah. Where do you think they're
yeah.
gonna get? What are they saying? It's more than a quarter at this rate, right?
Yeah, I think they're targeting 50 basis points, a half a point, a half a percent is what they're targeting. What I would like to see happen is I would like that whatever cut that we're going to get, it would be nice if that was pretty much the ceiling of the year. And then things, as far as interest rates are concerned, that just continued to improve from there, because the way I'm looking at it is you got Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett's outfit. They stepped in, they bought a couple of major home builders, Lennar
Hmm.
and DR Horton. And DR Horton specifically, I know that their cost basis is probably around 130 a share, and at the time of this, it's sitting at like 180. So I think they deployed about $215 million into that trade, and so they're sitting on some nice sized profits. If we know anything about Warren Buffett, there's still plenty of meat on the bones, and they don't deploy that kind of money. They're not day traders, right? The Berkshire Hathaway team are not day traders. They make long term investments.
Long
So
term,
they
yeah.
feel like, yeah, they feel like the environment is going to shift. That's what I'm seeing based on these purchases that they've made most recently.
Yeah. So a lot of the institutions are making these moves, big moves, real estate. I know you sent me something which I want to hear your outtake on it as far as the music industry goes with some of these big investors sticking their hand in that candy jar as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you really think about it, it's a simple concept, right? It's cash flow at its core. And so the underlying artist that has a music catalog, the institution or family office or investor that wants to buy cash flow is looking at that music catalog and saying, you know what? Maybe I could offer this artist, you know, a lump sum payout today to release the rights and the earning ability of that entire music catalog, right? To me. And so now I think it's pretty dope, at least for those people making the investment, because now you have AI, you own the catalog, so you can essentially inject AI somewhere, somehow, to create marketing around that music catalog to push up the streaming volume, right? And enhance your
Yes.
cash flow. So there's a lot of, I guess it's a win win situation if the artist really wants the money, or needs the money. But yeah, that's what
Yeah.
these guys are doing, man. These institutions are stepping in and they're looking to buy cash flow. That's really what it is. At the end of the day, you know, somebody, let's see what music artist recently sold. I don't recall any off the top of my head because it's been a while since
If
a
I go
large
back to
transaction
it,
took place.
if you really go back to it, because at one point I was working with a guy and I won't really delve into names or anything right now, but that's what the business was. So basically, guys like me and my partner that I was dealing with at the time, we would find artists that were getting big streams, millions of streams, and it was mostly Caribbean artists. Like the guy I had partnered with, he was big on the Spanish music tip. So he was getting all the Latin artists, and that's what they were doing.
Okay.
They were leasing the catalogs, giving them a bag up front for control of your
Yeah.
catalog for a certain amount of months, and after that it reverts back to them. I see what's happening now is they're just completely buying out people's catalogs, and like you're no
Right.
longer have any rights to them. And I was digging deeper into it after you send it to me, and it's like, I guess like you said, it's a win-win. But you know you have guys like let's say a little Dirk right now who might not ever come home. We never know, you know what I mean? He's going through some situations, and a lot of these guys that are catching these RICO cases and they're being behind bars, these are the targets. Like, all right, they need a big amount of cash right now, and these are the people they're going to.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was saying, this has been going on for a while. I know at one point Ti was one of the artists that did it. It's a lot of people in the hip hop area. There's been a lot of big artists. I believe Justin Bieber did it too. So like
Irv
it's like you
Gotti.
said. What was that?
Irv Gotti. Murder Inc.
Lost.
Irv Gotti.
Yeah, Irv Gotti
He
was the big
recently did
one.
it before he passed away. Yeah, that
Hmm.
was like, I think they gave him like $200 million or something like that for the portfolio
Yeah,
before he passed away.
but you have to own your music to be able to profit from this. A lot of these guys don't even own their music, and that's the big thing.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, it does open uh, um, revenue stream for, like you said, anybody that's willing to use the marketing or the AI and boost the plays. It's a great play for a lot of these institutions and anybody else who has the cash, that because anybody could buy catalogs. You know what I mean? So that might be another investment vehicle in itself.
Yeah, I had a guy I was working with. I had a guy I was working with that had pitched this idea, and he had some relationships with some well-known artists out of the New York market, some artists from our era. You know what I'm saying? But for one reason or another, he couldn't get the concept to come off the ground. I'm not 100% sure why, but that was his exact concept. The exact concept was to come in, either purchase the catalog or partner with the artist to give them some money up front and co-market the catalog and have a revenue share based on that co-marketing agreement. Right. So I know he had a couple of artists that he had signed on with that as far as that business model is concerned. But yeah, that is something that people definitely need to take into consideration, right? Because like me, I'm a Tidal subscriber, the music platform. So with Tidal, you can upload music as an artist. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
the barrier to entry, as far as the barrier of entry to monetizing your talents, right? Your art form or your musical gifts, that barrier to entry is a lot lower these days. So that's definitely something that people should take a look at because at the end of the day, if companies are willing to fork over $200 million for poetry over beats, you know, that's something that folks should keep their eye on 100%.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. It's a big market. And and again, it's crazy. Everything is leaning back towards AI, and that's something else that's flooding the market. Because again, it's with the music, it's how much music you have in the market. You know what I mean? So the more music you have, the more income or streaming money you could get. Because a lot of these platforms, they automatically skip to the next song. So if you have Ti sounding music or Young Thug sounding music, but Ti only has 10 albums, but you have 300 songs, you're going to be guaranteed to get hits. So that works in a lot of people's favor with the music, and with these guys putting out large amounts of AI made music, you know what I mean? And still
Hmm.
collecting from that's a whole other that's just a whole nother avenue that some people are not even hip to, but that's where a lot of this money is going to be start going to as well. I think Timberland even
You
said he was
see what
putting
they
out
did with Beanie?
with who?
Beanie Siegel.
No, I didn't. What I must have missed that one.
Yeah, Beanie Siegel lost his voice. He had an accident. I want to say he was wounded and he lost his voice. So now they've recreated his voice using AI. So he's out going on tour using an AI voice.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know
Crazy,
that.
right?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I think that's sick. I think, for something like that, an application like that is fantastic, right? Because, you know, he definitely has an amazing gift, but life circumstances, took that ability for him to express it in the way that we're familiar with. And so
Uh,
I know he wasn't aware that AI was coming, but man, what a blessing. You know what I'm saying? What a blessing to be able to
yeah.
continue to exercise your gift as a result of this technology. That's what I'm saying, man. People shouldn't be afraid of it at all. If anything, people should be willing to embrace it.
Yeah, it's definitely becoming a tool with everything going on, all the new companies, all these chip companies. It's a wave. It's just the new thing right now. One point it was the internet, and it's always something new. But I feel like right now the speed that everything is going is just crazy. You got to either get keep up or get left behind.
Yeah, I think I said it. I might have said it on another episode. I'll say it again, man. Don't become obsolete. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to keep up with what is happening. And if you don't pivot, you can perish. You literally can perish out here if you don't pivot. So, you got like I'm seeing a lot of some of our old school favorite artists are doing podcasts, man. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, man, this is dope because these guys are
Yeah.
understanding. They get it. They understand the fact that, they had to meet their audience where the audience is, right? And so the audience has a thirst and a hunger for this type of long form content as far as podcasts are concerned, but not just from anybody, from subject matter experts, right? And so when you talk about rap, those subject matter experts, they got that 20, 30-year catalog.
Mm-hmm.
Magic happens behind the camera and the microphone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, AI is responsible for a lot of that. One thing that I was happy to see, right? I was happy to see that they demonetized content that is faceless, right? So in other words,
Yeah. So
you know, you're out here just yeah, you're just out here flooding the market. You're flooding YouTube with content, and there's no real face or no human beings behind it, but you are gaming the algorithm and taking advantage of that and getting paid, right? And everybody's got to hustle. I get it, but at the same time, it takes away from the people who are willing to put the work in, and those people are being rewarded now. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely was happy to see that. So and now you're seeing on these quarterly earnings reports for these companies. A lot of these companies are talking about AI. It's showing up in their quarterly earnings reports, and you're seeing it by way of a reduction of headcount. So that's where the fear comes from. The fear
yes.
comes from,
Yes.
a swath of people were laid off. But my opinion is if the efficiency was there 100%, right? You probably
Mhm.
wouldn't have been in danger as far as your role. Your role wouldn't have been in danger if your efficiency was where it needed to be.
Yeah, I get that too. And just to play devil's advocate, there's also the other side of that where, you know, a lot of, our people, to say the less, West Indian people, Spanish people, their main jobs when they come is in these factories. And like the Amazon, it's like almost 75% automated. So these guys are losing these.
Really?
And yeah, a lot of the factories here are automated. They have a lot of automation
Mhm.
going on. So it's like, a lot of these people depended on these jobs before. It's like you can have a job at Amazon, you all right, you good. You know what I mean? And where I'm at this, we have every warehouse here, from Amazon to Walmart, all the factories are here. So there's always
Okay.
jobs, but a lot of people are not being able to hold these jobs because of these, you know, the AI and the machinery and all of that. It does kind of hurt in that aspect of it. So, how more efficient can you be in a factory job? You know what I mean? So I see the
Yeah.
fear building in those aspects. And the job market, as we can see, like I know they're waiting to hear the reports from the job market coming, well, I think real soon. So we'll see where that is. But
Yeah. I would say to you, as far as those jobs are concerned, if there's a way, put yourself in the business owner's shoes, right? At the end of the day, you've got your operational expenses, right? You got your capital expenses, you've got your free cash flow, and you've got your net operating income. As a business owner, you're trying to push that NOI, that net operating income, into the
Income.
black as
Yeah.
far as you can go. And so you start to look at the operational expenses. You start to look and say, well, wait a minute, I'm paying these people. I've got 10 people doing, 10 different roles. How can I shrink that? Right. And
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if I would call that malicious, more so being a good steward of capital, right? Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to feel bad for the business owner when he goes out of business because
Business.
he choked on his operational expenses, right? So
Yeah, that
the
is true.
business owner is taking a great deal of risk, going out, setting up the entity, setting up the structure, writing the SOPs, teaching people their jobs, creating these roles and positions, right? Staying competitive, dealing with, people who, what's this, the quiet quitting? You've ever heard of this term, the quiet quitting?
No, what's that?
Quiet quitting is like, well, you just stopped showing up for work and you quit, but your upper management didn't know you quit. So that's quiet quitting. So,
I heard
this
about the
is, as a
loud
business
quitting
owner,
on
this,
Walmart speakers.
yeah, that's, yeah, that's probably a grab for TikTok views or something like that. But
Yeah,
yeah, that,
yeah.
there's a lot of things that these business owners have to deal with. So uh, if AI could come in and do it better, and you was in the business owner's shoes, what would you do? That's a serious question. What
Ah,
would you do if that was your business, right?
listen, man, for me, it's always the bottom line. And I do agree with you. It's always the bottom line. It has to be, or else where's the business? Nobody else is going to help you put everything back together when everything falls down. So it has to be the bottom line. But, it's something that's got to be figured out. I think again that's where investing becomes a big thing, where you can't just rely on a job, on a 9 to 5, or going and punching the clock. You got to figure other things out. You know what I mean? There's so many other ways to make income. You got to figure it out. Like Gary Vee says, just go grab something and start selling something. You know what I mean?
Yo, what is this thing they talk about? Make money while you sleep, right? So, all right, I get up this morning. I grab my phone, I check my alerts. Alerts are going off left and right. I got this company, Asset Entities, right? I had posted the stories on this one. I had took a decent sized options position on this, 7.5 strike, expirations later this year. And the stock was up 100% this morning. So I guess I'm participating in that meme crowd that we was talking about earlier. But here's the thing. Something happened overnight for the stock to go from 6 to 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, I could sit here and debate. Some people will say, "Oh, well, that's manipulation. That's not right. This is wrong." Do you think these bill collectors care? Do you think they care? They don't care. So I took my profits on this thing this morning, right? I did pretty good on that one. I wasn't expecting it to move as fast as it did. But my point being is that investing is mandatory, right? And so you have to invest because when you buy stocks, let's say you got a company, pick a company, any company like we talked about Costco, right? Everybody knows
Mm-hmm.
Costco. Let's say Costco's at 30,000 employees. Even if you stick $50 in there, now you have 30,000 employees across multiple markets working on your behalf simply because you injected $50 of capital into the company, right? And so the investing part positions you to sit on the shoulders of companies who execute at a high level, right? They have operational excellence. The leadership is legendary, right? And you get to participate in that company's excellent performance or poor performance. But I'd rather position my capital, my discretionary capital that I'm looking to invest. I'd rather position that into stocks and have the opportunity to participate in some upside potential than to have it sit in the bank.
And get nothing.
And we already know how that works, right? Because either I'm gonna deploy my money and I'm gonna get a decent rate of return or a good rate of return, or the bank is gonna deploy the money, right? And they'll get a rate of return, and they won't let me participate in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to invest. Your future you is depending on it. I talk to people a lot and I tell them, I don't care, person's 40 years old. I say, you are investing for the 50-year-old version of yourself you have yet to meet. That's who you are investing for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you thought stuff was expensive now, just wait.
Just wait. It's only gonna get more expensive.
Just wait.
You know.
That's right.
Yeah,
Just
that's how
wait.
I
And
look at it the
so,
same way. You have to invest. You have to think buying property is a key thing, getting land, everything you have to in all aspects of investing. And there's so many different ways of investing. You see people making money investing in streams and music and everything. Just gotta figure out your
mhm.
lane and get in there, and there's different levels. You got to start small and build it up if that's what you have to do. But at least start, like you said, that jump came overnight, but you were there to receive that blessing.
Right.
If you're not there,
Right. I was
you know
there.
what I mean?
Right.
So the more times
Right.
you show up and you're there, put your hands out, you'll catch a blessing. But if you're not even there, you're not even moving in the direction or making the moves, then you're just going to miss out every time. There is no win in that situation at all. So
Yeah.
got to put your foot in, you know what I mean? Trying to get some wins out of it.
Well, I'll tell you, man, the interest in investing has shot up exponentially um, over the years, without a shadow of a doubt. Red, green, black, purple, yellow, whatever color, cultural demographic you come from, right? If you got a pulse in your chest, you feeling inflation. You
Yeah.
feeling it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you feeling inflation. I think you told me your daughter the other day was looking for an apartment, right?
Yeah. She found one, but whew, that Long Island price range. Oh man, I'm glad I'm not there anymore.
It's like a mortgage payment out
Well, it's not
there.
even a mortgage payment out here. It's like two mortgage payments out here.
Oh wow. I don't know if you want to say that too loud, man, because what happens is if you notice certain neighborhoods where the cost of living is lower, it's like once the news breaks and you start to get a swath of people, and next thing you know, that's what happened in North Carolina, man. North Carolina, you know what I'm saying? Houses was going for $100,000. Now houses are going for 350, 400,000 in some of these suburbs. You know what I mean?
Listen,
They've shot up
it's already
exponentially, and
here.
even more so.
It's already here. We're already going through it. It's the auctions are outrageous. Here the prices jump. Prices almost tripled out here. And I'm just glad and happy I got in where I got in because now I'm just sitting on a heap load of equity, which I'm about to put to work for me next year.
Right.
So again, I made that
Right.
move and I was able to catch that blessing. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
already here. So I'm
No,
looking for
most
the next
definitely.
area.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Take advantage of the market that you're in while you're experiencing that upside. Because I have a feeling with, pending rate cuts, interest rate cuts, I have a feeling that it's going to bring the buyers out, which are going to drive the bids higher. Right. So the bids are probably going to, spike as far as the volume is concerned. And so I don't think it's going to automatically turn into a seller's market. I think the buyers are still going to have a great deal of advantages and control on their side. But what I will say is that everybody's paying attention to interest rates right now. Everybody.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see. Hopefully that brings some more loans in this way, some more clients on the real estate
Yeah,
side. And I know I'm looking. I'm always looking for something.
yeah. What do you like to focus on property type wise?
My focus has mainly been on flips, just to build on capital. That was my main focus,
Okay.
and that was the easiest thing to do out here because the cost of entry was so low, But from moving on, like I was sitting and talking to a good friend, and they're sitting there on $1 million projects, multi-million-dollar projects, and he looked at me in the face. He's like, "Yo, you're a hustler, but you're not going to get to where you want to get with these small little moves. You know what I mean? You got to start getting together capital and start stepping into this $1 million realm." And that just, you know what I mean? All right. He basically told me step my game up, basically, you know what I mean? So now I've been throwing different things around in my head, like, start some maybe ground up construction, like I was telling you before, talking to you about. So my my new vision, my new goal or direction I want to go in is trying to get some capital and see what I could do. Try to move on to some bigger projects and see where that takes me.
Okay. So in terms of property type, when you do your flips, are you focusing on like single family or is it duplexes? What is it?
It's either or. I think single family and duplexes come easy around here. Like we just had a duplex that, we didn't flip it. We acquired it and put some capital on top of it and moved it along real quick. You know what I mean? So almost like a wholesale deal, but it was just a quick movement. So it's like, all right, let's just, instead of dealing with the whole flip on that, let's just grab these quick bucks real quick and move on. Single family is probably the easiest. Single family is always the easiest, I feel. But if you
Okay.
could get a good double out here, any multifamily, it's like blood in the water. Everybody wants it. So if you have a decent multifamily out here, there's going to be no problem getting it sold.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I would tell you, anything above a duplex, as far as holdings are concerned, like long-term holdings, what property types do you favor?
Let me see. For me, I'm looking at the big ones. I'm looking like commercial, 15 or better, or 15 units or better. That's what I want to start looking to, or even like the townhouses, things of that nature. I think that's where I want to start putting my focus on.
Okay. Yeah, the as far as the market where you're at, right? Just keep
Hmm.
in mind when you're dealing with loans, when you're dealing with loans, typically lenders want to see a minimum as is value of 35,000 per door, right? When
Yeah,
you're dealing with these multifamilies. So some of the challenges that I have faced has been, funding loans for multifamily projects where they may have a high unit count, 10, 15, 20, 25, but yeah, and the purchase price is really, really low, but because of the fact that the minimum as is value is below 35,000, it makes it hard to, it makes it hard to fund those type of projects. So I typically tell people look for projects where the minimum as is value is 35,000 at least.
is that something like you plan on doing as well, getting back into that realm of things, or as far as?
I fix and flip. I fix and flip single family and duplexes, right? That's what I would fix and flip. I'm mostly single family. I can't say that I've come across, because I'm on the Long Island market. Duplexes are not
Mhm.
pretty popular where we're at, on Long Island. But
Yeah,
anything above a duplex, I'd like to hold, So 3 to 4 units would be a hold. Like I'd buy it, fix it, use a DSCR loan, to pay off the hard money loan and hold that for the long term, right? And those 3 to 4 units are good because what tends to happen is you can get the max LTV with those, the max loan to value with those properties. Once you go 5 plus, you get a little bit of a reduction as far as the loan to value, the maximum loan to value that a bank's willing to give you. Right. Plus, it's considered commercial. So if you were going to sell the property, you would need a commercial loan to do a 5 plus because it wouldn't qualify for conventional or FHA financing.
of course. Yeah, yeah.
Not to say that I would shy away from a 5 or 6 or 8 family. I wouldn't shy away from them. They're just not that prevalent on my side of town where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. See, here is it's a little
Yeah.
different. It's a little different. If you have those are like gold. If you have a 4 unit, like any multi units out here, the investors they're coming for them. They're coming for them. So that's the key. They want those,
Right.
and it's a
Yeah, yeah.
bidding war most of the time. But
Yo, man, speaking on this, spending this time talking about apartments, right? It just kind of reminds me of a situation where I really realized that the push for rental properties was about to happen, right? This was like
hmm
coming out of COVID. I was a shareholder in ticker symbol APTS. They're no longer traded anymore. They got bought out. But APTS was a multifamily operator, garden style apartments out of the Southern Belt, right? So
hmm
that's Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Mississippi. So they operated apartment complexes in those regions. And so my cost basis on that one was in the teens. And, I was dollar cost averaging in that one. And I was doing pretty good because the dividend, you was getting a nice healthy dividend from that, from the cash
Uh-huh.
flow, from the rents. But then one day, because I bought it for the dividend and slight capital appreciation. But then one day, man, the thing just jumped to like 20 something a share. And I didn't know what happened. I'm looking at it, I'm like, what is going on? And then I got a notice saying, your shares were bought out. We're liquidating your position at $20 or $21 a share in cash, basically saying, thanks for playing. See you later. We're taking this company private. We don't need your money anymore. See you later. We're out of here.
Yeah, wow.
So then I took the proceeds from that. I took the proceeds from that acquisition, because I wanted to be in an apartment complex stock so I could get the cash flow and a little bit of a capital appreciation, right? And have access to liquidity. So I bought another one. I think it was called Blue Rock Holdings. They were another apartment complex operator. And I believe the same thing happened, man. They just came in and bought, just
Wow.
bought them out. And it's the usual suspects. It's the Blackstone, the BlackRock, large
Big boy.
institutional investors of this size. They come in and big boy. And so that happened first as far as apartments are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when institutions started to push into single family, So listen, institutions are investing, banks are investing, family offices are investing. And you know who was complaining? The individuals that are not
Individual
investing.
people. Yep.
Yeah,
So
the individual.
you already know, bottom line is invest. Find a way to invest, learn about investing, and jump in, man. It's the only thing that's gonna save you.
Jump in, the water's fine.
All right. So we'll call it a wrap here. Episode 3 down.
Yes, sir.
Good Money Podcast,
That's it. We signing off. Palmery here with Good Money Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.